Good evening, folks. Welcome. I'm Afonso Zayan Sort of the Liberia Public Radio and Lpr-Tv right here this evening. In controls at the New England Bureau Desk. We're taking you to Grand Bassa County. I'm going to share the conversation here in the first segment in today's editions of LPR, a special edition. Welcome, saying you are in the house, and Brother Abraham, good evening and welcome. Giacote, don't panic, I will call your name by. And my man Samuel, fine boy, good evening and welcome. This is the Liberia Public Radio. And there's one going to all of our Bazolians, friends of Bassa, Grand Bassa County. You know, we believe in the traditions of our country, promote the image of our country, and so we always keep it proportionate. Welcome. I just hit a share button here this evening. As we talk national politics, let's come right before our feet. Guess what? These people, at the end of the day, they won't be senator, they won't be representative. So we have to put them into check, all right? Pennsylvanians recently had the association hosted elections and a new court of officers in town. How long? What is the news story they get to tell us? Hey. Just hit a share button for us. Just share the podcast for us. Musat, welcome. And Tango Ziat, welcome in the house of LPR. Don't be afraid, right? Let's come, let's worship the man. So we need to pray for our country. It's crazy. Always Minister Woman's Jacob making a contribution right here this evening on the Liberia Public Radio Lpr-Tv. I'm Afonso Zayan Sort of the Liberia Public Radio. My guests, they are here already standing by backstage, and very shortly we're going to get this program going. Welcome to this LPR special edition. Good evening, welcome. I'm Afonso Zayan Sort of the Liberia Public Radio and Lpr-Tv. We want to welcome our viewers and listeners across the globe. Thank you for sharing this beautiful, it's a kind of wet day here in the East Coast. I'm not sure how it looks like on your end, but tunnel and everything is flushing, but notwithstanding, we are doing good. Cold breeze, raining is out there. But we want to welcome our viewers and listeners across the globe. Thank you for being here. This evening, we're going to be in two segments. In the first edition, we'll take a conversation right here on our own feet. The Liberian Association based in Pennsylvania recently, there was an election held, a new team of officers in place. But what would be the news story from the past story that we've been hearing all along? These organizations, well, there are some faces there. We've been following their activities and seems to be principle-minded. But I can't trust them because sooner or later, when they get up there, then shut up begin to grow and things begin to change. That's why it's happening. And guess what? For us here, we always keep it proportional. This is why we need to also, they must be also be held accountable. Because most of them here now, I know they begin to build their credential, which of course is great. And then they go in Liberia, they go to Grand Gita, they go to Cape they go to Grand Bassa, they go to Bomi. I was the president of the Liberian community in New Jersey. They play what would I go by Pepe. I was the president of Ocean State of Rhode Island. Build all these credentials, which is good to serve the community. It's good to serve your country, but it must be done with authenticity, not to use the Liberian people as a springboard to get to your political power. And at the end of the day, nothing is done. So we'll find a secret for them. We'll hold them accountable, put them on record. None of the guests can delete this video. So tomorrow when they start doing something, I go to my archive and pull the video. I say, hey, this is what you said that time. How come? Then they start to scratch their head. Political correctness kick in. I am Alfonso Z and so of the Liberia Public Radio and Lpr-Tv. In a different form here. We can do our own thing here. I know somebody panicking. Why is he in a face care? Why I can't wear face care? Okay, and my guests, they are here. So we're going to get here very shortly. Madam President, if you can turn on your camera, you need to allow access to your mic, your camera. I still can see your image, so I won't be able to capture you. So let me just turn you off here, and I'm going to see you can come back, but just allow access to your mic and your camera. But let me just bring in our senior contributors. He's based in the liberal state of California. Jennington is here. Takola is here, and then I'm going to be bringing in our guests here. We're going to do a quick push here, and then we're going to bring our guests here. Let's go to the liberal state of California, where our senior contributor of the Liberia Public Radio and Lpr-Tv is standing by. Mr. Jennington Colette is standing by. Jennington, good evening and welcome.
Good evening. So it's wonderful again to see you since last night.
Yeah, I was upset because the liberal was getting his doctrine and just how he was packed in the garage. That's what he wanted to do to you. I said, no, I got to intrude. Before he got to know I was in there, he said, what are you doing here? Who brought you? I said, oh, okay. Okay, so how is the date? We're going to have a 2 points conversation here this evening. It's good that we have this community conversation as well, because these people are serving our community, which is great. But at the end of the day, they want to go to Capitol Hill, which of course is their right to do. But we have to also check them. The Liberian Community Association of Pennsylvania is one of our great, a huge community associations. So yeah, okay, the guests, they are all here. So quickly here, let me just tap into you. What are your concerns with the Liberian-based organizations in the diaspora? Are they making significant impact? Are they doing enough? Or is the same old story, you think?
I think my experience with the last group that he hosted, I think there is some level of improvement. Some part of this month, I visited Utah, and I saw the organizational structure with the Utah small community. So I think they are making some significant progress, which we should encourage them, and there are still much more to be done.
Much more to be done. Our guests, they are here already. Let's just bring in then. They say later before, gentlemen, the president, why did she decide to go in this thing? You people, the way to manage Liberian people high, why she decided to get in this? We're going to get an in-depth analysis of her actions and what brought us to the way. Let's bring in the president here, is the president-elect of the Liberian Community Associations of Pennsylvania. There you see her, Madam President. Good evening.
Good
Is
evening.
ranked and supported by the Vice President, Sando B. Johnson. Let me get this thing here. You know what? If I come to Pennsylvania, there I want to be a caller, real courtesy. Let me edit your name because, Liberian people, when you don't get a title, that's trouble. So. That trouble. Let me do it quick. And you say, oh, because we put it there too, the men I put it there. Because when I get it, where can I supposed to get? Is that the acronym name lab LP? Is it correct?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Okay. So then let me come to the president here as well. Let's see here.
You left something out, or you didn't put Honorable Senator Johnson.
Yeah, we go.
If you don't have enough room, please don't sweat it. We're okay.
Okay.
It's not actually about
honorable.
the title.
when you enter Capitol Hill, they will put that honorable there.
They probably will not go there.
Okay, guys, good to be here. We try to make it proportional here in our talking point, not just Liberia. I believe the diaspora community is making a huge impact as well. And so we must also give attention to what is happening right on our own feet, not just out there. Mr. Johnson, I believe you're getting a call. Okay, so let's get the ball rolling here. Let's start with the presidents. Just introduce yourself and we will get down to the wire.
Okay. Hello. Thank you. Hi, everybody. My name is Sayandi Kofa Komote. I've been living in the state of Pennsylvania for the past 24 years. I've been living and working in the community for the past about 7 to 8 years. I have a bachelor's degree in healthcare management. I'm also a nurse, a licensed practical nurse. So I do both jobs. Besides doing my work in the community, I'm also the founder of an organization called the All Liberian Diaspora Women Organization. And this organization kind of has been serving the community since before the COVID, I believe 2019. But we are a registered organization, 501c3 organization. We work with the county and the state doing COVID-19 projects, housing assistance project. We did a COVID-19 bereavement project to families where we give a little something to these families the people that lost their families during the COVID-19 to help with their burial expenses. And our organization also works in Liberia. We have about 30 to 35 students on scholarship in and around Monrovia, in Brewerville, in Kakata, in Monrovia itself. We've been doing food distributions, and we've done it here and back home. Our organization is well known in the community. I also serve as chair, the national treasurer of the LU Alumni Association in the Americas for 2 years. And I just ran the convention last year. I was the chairperson for the convention. And I love to work with people. It gives me joy to work with my community. And that's the reason why I decided to come to the larger community and bring in my services. And joining me with my vice president now, I'm saying my vice president, Mr. Sando Johnson, who has also been in the community for a while, for about 2 or 3 decades, and working along with other organizations together. So we decided to make this team and come to our community and work and serve our community. Thank you.
Ooh, wow, what impressive. The good thing I didn't hear her saying she's on loan. I'm gonna, you're on loan, so how effective you're gonna work? But I didn't hear that, so I'm happy. Is it possible? I don't know what are the device to make it like a tour. I can pull you backstage if you can fix it, and then Sando, can you do the same thing? Is it possible to make it horizontal? Horizontal landscape form. Okay.
Right. I don't know if my phone will.
Yeah, so if we can do it, then of course we can manage it. Sando, can it work? You think
I'm trying to see if I can get it to work.
Okay, well, if it can work, that to get it in that kind of landscape form, I just.
That's what I wanted. Okay, let me go to settings and see.
Yeah, okay. Let me just get you. I'm monitoring you guys in the back here. Let me see. Okay, if it can work, Madam President, no problem. So
Yeah, it's not working for me. I don't know why. I tried to use my computer, but for some reason I wasn't getting on. That's why I came to myself.
oh, okay. Once a computer, then you gotta go Google Chrome. Okay, but that's okay. Let's do what we can do. So no big deal. Let's
All
do
right.
it. Okay,
Okay, cool.
yeah, let's do it. I think what is matter is the conversation.
Right, and
Yeah,
let them hear from us. I
that's what
think
matters.
that's important.
Okay, so let's hear from Mr. Johnson. Who is Sando Johnson? And let's hear from you.
All right, so I'm Sandra B. Johnson. I have lived in the state of Pennsylvania for the last 3 decades. Prior to me being elected as the vice president for LAPT, I work as the president. I am the former president of the Bowman County Association in the state of Pennsylvania. I worked as the co-chairman of the board for the Bowman County Association as well. I was co-chairman of the board of the Old Timers Sports Association in the state of Pennsylvania. Currently, I'm the community relations chairman of the Gentlemen's Club of Pennsylvania. And so I'll leave it right there for now.
Leave it right there for now. Let me be gracious here. We want to welcome our brother here, to Marvin Butlers. I am watching from Yekipa. I know the only Yekipa is in Liberia. This is how that I know. This is how the importance of the social media, and this is why our conversations will always try to keep it proportional, fair, balanced, respectful, in a safer context, because our brothers and sisters out there too, the young man is bringing his data simply because he wants to know what is going on in the diaspora, because whatever we do here, it does directly or indirectly has an impact. So when people cussing and doing stuff like that, I wish I knew Mike Zuckerberg phone number. Like, you know what? Give this never to return. Okay, guys, good evening. Thank you so much for making yourself available for us to have this conversation. Hopefully, we hope and pray that it won't be the last chance. Our own contributor is here, Mr. Jonathan Takola is also a senior contributor of Liberia Public Radio. Amos Joy, the man from the far right, Atlanta, Georgia, going to be joining this conversation here. Let's get a ball rolling here. Madam President, I heard a lot from you. How you got to this point, why you decided to get in this. Your hand seems to be full. That's my own interpretation. I could be, but I know managing our Liberian community-based organization, they don't care who is a woman, who is a lady. They say things, they talk without even having a second thought. What were those things you really considered to get into what you get yourself in?
Well, the fact that I've been working along with people in this community, and after we established the organization, I told it about my colleague and I, Mrs. Aisha and Bolu Howard, and there were a lot of things, social issues, and a lot of things we felt that could come to the community at large, but because there was some division and there was so many misunderstanding, and due to that, the people they weren't really, the administration weren't really engaging the community the way they should. There were lawsuits into the present, the past administration, and then COVID came for 2 years. But before that, there were a lot of issues that people were complaining about, and a lot of things were going on. I wasn't a part of the administration. I was just a member. The last election that was supposed to take place, I ran as a coordinator. I was supposed to, the position was supposed to try to collaborate and negotiate, bring out programs, working along with various communities other than PA, maybe with LAB and other organizations, county organizations and stuff like that. But that didn't work out. That election was canceled due to some confusion again. And then as I watch, us communicating in the chat room and having meetings and all of that, I mean, it just, to me, it wasn't ending, all the misunderstanding and everything, it was just going on and on. And I felt the community needed somebody to kind of unite this community, first, before we can even go forward. You know, everybody had their own opinion, and it just wasn't coming together at some point in time. And so I decided, I said, maybe I can be that person, because I was able to work with every fraction, you know, and kind of understand what the problem was. So I started making calls to them, and I spoke to the people of the present administration. I spoke to people, other members of LAP, the association. I spoke to people of ULA, and the community as a whole. And there were people coming in my office, and I knew about these social issues. Like I said, the organization that I founded along with my colleagues, we were doing lots of things. You know,
Hold on
there
one
was lots of
second, Madam President. Mr. George, you got something on there, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. Hold on. Yeah.
yeah, you know, there were a lot of social issues at some point in time. Now we are doing the housing assistance program. We jumped into that because we felt, well, the county asked us to work along with them, and it was a good thing because we saw people coming to our office and asking for a place to sleep. We saw people, I mean, people call us for domestic violence. We saw our children being, you know, victims of gun violence, and a lot of things were going on. And uh, the community, the administration here was struggling to have a central office, which they had, but they didn't really use because of some problem. I think it had the house kind of burned down or something like that. And then because we had an office and was serving the community, people kept coming to us with all those problems. And then trying to bring people together. Every time we had a meeting, it just seemed like some people would disagree with everything, and it was just never ending. So I decided, my ladies talked to me, and I decided, okay, I will come in there and see how I can unite the community. So I brought in everybody to work along with me. People were not happy. You know, some people, they didn't want me to just stay on one side. I said, no, I'm coming to unite the community. So I'm calling everybody from across every fraction to join this team so we can move our community forward. I know there are people here who have the expertise to do that, but I think you need that cohesion. You need someone to be there and make sure we all come together, and I think I can do it. So I decided to run for the presidency and ask my colleague Sandro to join me, who comes across with everyone too in the community. He's a very fine gentleman. He's been working in the community. They all know him. And so we made a good team, and we have been working together with other members of the community. And that's where, yeah, that's how I came to this
Wow.
point.
Yeah. Do you have like a fan or something on, Mr. Joyce? We're getting some stuff for you.
Yeah. Is it okay now?
Yeah, okay. We'll see whether it's okay. Okay, so that was a lengthy, elaborate, and explicit one. I want to come back to you, and my colleagues, any of them come in here. So before I go to the VP, talk to me a little bit. Do you remember the time, be it day, night, there was a signal, I might guess, when you took this decision, I will contest. Do you remember that specific time?
Yes, I do.
Do you wish to share that with us?
I was I was at home in bed, and then we were all communicating in the chat room, and we were going back and forth in the chat room. But before then, there was a community meeting that I attended, and I went to the meeting, and at that meeting, we're supposed to form an interim, government to move the community forward. And we're still fighting. I mean, people just couldn't come to one understanding. And I'm like, okay, this has to stop if we are deciding to move forward. So that didn't really work out well. And I was in the chat room this night reading the comments and people talking, you the cause, and you the cause, and you are the reason why we are here today, and you are the one who's not doing what's right. You want to be president, although you want to be, all that communication was going on. And I listened, and I was reading it. So at some point in time, some people and I were exchanging, words in the chat room also. And I said to myself, okay, in order for us to come together, I will wake up tomorrow morning and make some calls and try to get people understanding an opinion of what's going on. And then I will bring everybody in this chat room that's fussing, that's not understanding each other, and bring them on the team and see if we can work together. And I woke up, and that's when I woke up the next day, and I told my good friend, and I'm like, you know what? I think I should run for the presidency, because some way, somehow, all this has to stop, and we need to move forward. And I think I can do it. I will call people, then I will talk. I've been talking to people. I called someone last night, and I will keep talking to people. And that's where my decision came from. And she said, well, go for it. I think you can do it. I believe and I trust in you. Go for it. So I said, okay, but I need to talk to more people. And I continued my conversation, making phone calls to people here. And there wasn't anyone who received my phone call that said, oh, or hesitated. Everybody that I told were kind of excited and like, well, we think it's a good thing. We think you can do it. You've been serving the community for a while. We all know you. We've seen your work, what you've done in this community, and even in the American community. I volunteered on doing the Hurricane Katrina. I went to Texas and helped to take care of some of the mentally ill people there. And we volunteer sometimes to do some work with the volunteers in America that I work with Red Cross, wherever there's something, But I had all this in me, and I felt our community needed that help. And there were a lot of things that were missing and could come to the community as a whole. I mean, seeing all these domestic violence people and our children being victims of gun violence. At some point in time, it really hit my core when one day there was a shootout in Pennsylvania where 7 children lost their lives. And I'm like, I mean, we sympathize with the family, we buried them. Another child lost his life in police custody, and I was called, my team and I, we all went there, to sympathize with the family. But then, and they are looking for help, to go forward with the case. And looking at all these things, I say, you know what, if everybody can talk to me and they understand where that comes from, I believe they will work along with me. So that's when I made that decision, and I went and announced my candidacy, and it was welcomed by a lot of people.
All right. I really appreciate that. Sometimes we need to backtrack where we came from, and that can help the leadership to do something. There's a reason for I was asking that question. Let me come to Mr. Johnson. Mr. Johnson is not a strange person to me, but we want to call it all friendship, all ties here. This is a serious business. So you are also at liberty to plead the fifth, just in case you don't want to answer the question. That is okay as well. And so let's come to it. You really being involved in this. It's no question. We have seen it. Your work when you are called to do a piece of job, whether to supervise or to get certain thing done, you get it done to the fullest.
Yes, indeed.
Yes. So, how this whole vice presidency business came about? How when a madam called you, what was the first instant? What came to mind? Why you agreed to be the number 2 person?
Well, initially I got a call, not directly from her. I got a call from a couple of my colleagues that I have worked with over the years. And I totally dismissed it. I said I was not interested, but I would help, to find somebody who would work with her. We were on the phone till like 12 a.m. in the morning. We went to sleep. And the following day, I got a call directly from another very close friend, and I totally dismissed it. On the third day, I was driving to New Jersey, and I got a call from the president-elect, and I told her, I'll call you right back. And so apparently she knew that I kept going around, so she decided to go through people that were very close to me, and she got in with them. And I was somewhere in New Jersey. I got a phone call just about 15 minutes before she called, and I told them that I was going to accept the offer, and then thereafter, subsequently, she called, and I said, okay, I will accept to be your running mate. And since then, we got together. We started the campaign. We started working on the strategies. And yes, here we are today. We are now in leadership.
Okay. Gentlemen, the call-out, Amos George, don't hesitate when you want to come in. So there was no morning breakfast? Come on, when is everybody picking up their VP, or for some sort of early morning breakfast or somewhere, meet somewhere and have a conversation. But it appears that those phone calls, she strategically positioned herself to say, you know what, That's what I'm going to do. Bombard him with phone calls, even when he's out of the state, and that's going to bring to some sort of a settlement. But what was it like there? Was there any apprehension when those phone calls came in to be a number two? Because here is the thing here. In our Liberian community, is everywhere. The number one, the president, vice president, sometimes people don't make good choices. They don't get along. What was the length of conversation here before you consented? That's what I have interest in knowing.
Well, I think the good thing about the president-elect, she was not a strange person. I have known her since 2000, and besides, she has been extremely visible in the community in terms of expertise and work. And so I didn't have a second thought like, what if, things don't really get along? Those were not even things that I thought about. I mean, one of the things you want to do in leadership when you're aspiring for office, especially as the president, you want somebody who is just equally so competent to lead should there be any eventuality. And having the history of getting along with everybody and being a very popular guy around here. So, those were some of the motivational factors. Do I have any regrets why I came on board? No, because I think it has been extremely, people have been very receptive since we came on. And we can't wait, to take over so that we can get a lot of things done in this community. There is so much to be done, Alfonso, as you may know. In 2017, if you recall, you hosted us on your show when we were in court at the time. And so here we are today. We have a very free, fair, and transparent elections. And so we are very ecstatic about moving into a new direction in terms of making sure that we unite our community.
Okay, good. So before I go to my guy, Mr. George, and dear brother Jonathan, if you were to call you to make it much easier, shorter, don't hesitate. I told you we are all in this to have a honest conversation. So, Mr. Johnson, for your views, your opinion, commentator, let's turn this camera up, profess, and pretend as if she's not part of this conversation. For your views and opinions heard into her mindset or ideas when everything were accommodated, follow well?
Of course. And let me just take you back real quickly. When you decide to work with someone, there are a couple of things you have to look at. I come from a background where I believe in teamwork and collaboration. When I was in the doctoral program, my dissertation was heavily focused on teamwork and collaboration, which I believe when people work together, they achieve a lot as opposed to, one man show. And my running, well, I would say the president-elect has the history of working with everybody in the community. She has demonstrated that over the last few years. If you talk about immigration, she was very visible. You talk about the rental assistance program in Delaware County. She has done extremely well in that. And most importantly, there are a lot of other things that she does in the community that people don't even talk about. Besides, she was prepared, ready to lead the community. So those are the things that I look at. Now, as you rightly stated, we live in a community. You talk about what, 24,000 people in the state of Pennsylvania. And a lot of them are highly educated people. Some are highly controversial as well. So you need somebody who would be a centrist, who would have that capacity to cut across, to be able to bring people from the other side. And what really motivated me, people that fought us, people who were very critical about us taking this community, she was able to bring them on board. And that for me demonstrated leadership. And so I did not even second guess being her running mate.
Okay. Yeah, Jonathan, go ahead.
Yes, I thank you. Thanks to Madam President Komotien.
Sayandi.
Yes, Andy Kumoti. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And my brother,
Kumate.
Sando Johnson, thanks for the background information that have been provided. I understand and appreciate yes, the situation at hand first, like got you people motivated to have made the intervention in the community, especially with Liberian community playing game, very less innovative work, and sometimes it will take few persons to get on board to have it the steam, or build up before the rest can start coming and seeing the light and seeing the vision. I understand that. But I just like to ask the both of you, and either person can go, can answer the question as to what is the real focus. Because I heard about 20 some odd thousand person in Pennsylvania. So it's a very huge community. What
Yeah.
are your priority line in terms of engagement? I understand that you have made intervention in the life of homeless children who have been encountering situation of policing, arrests, gun shooting. So I know there are too many different priorities, but how do you intend, lining out priority one to priority two based on the need at this juncture? I just like you to throw in on it.
Madam President, you want to go first, or you want me to go ahead?
Go ahead.
All right. So I'm not quite sure if you have a copy of our platform. Now, so we have 24,000 people in the state of Pennsylvania. All of them do not form part of the Liberian Association. The folks in Pittsburgh, because of the distance, I think it's 6 hours from us. So they are not part of the Liberian Association of Pennsylvania. But if you look at the platform, it is straightforward, very practical. We talk about involvement. One of the reasons why we focus heavily on involvement, we think when people are engaged and motivated, they can participate in getting things done. Now, we did a quick study. The neighborhood that the president-elect lives in have a huge Liberian population. But if you did a quick survey on most of the people in the Northeast, they do not even know what the Liberian Association is. They feel that probably know what it is. They think, it's heavily focused in Southwest Philadelphia. And so our goal is to use involvement and inclusion first and foremost to get everybody involved, because our team believes that when you engage people, you have them to feel that they are a part of something. Their voices are being heard. There is equal participation. We believe that you can get a lot done. While it may be true, people talk about infrastructure, that could be a long-term goal. We are not heavily focusing on that. But we think when you bring people together, they will produce. Once you make people feel that, okay, look, you are part of what we are doing, we want you to be in, we want you to participate, they will go above and beyond. So that is just our priority first, bring people together so that they can know that their voices will be heard, so that they can know that their input matters, so that they have that sense of belonging. Once they have that, then the other things can fall in place. Not that we are not putting a high premium on infrastructure. There are a lot of social programs that our people could benefit from. But we feel that firstly, we want to bring people together first. Once we bring people together, the rest of the other things will fall in place. We also talk about integrity. And if you recall, one of the panelists mentioned about people not being trusted when it comes to Liberian Association in the diaspora. We felt that integrity also is a key component to leadership. And so we wanted to give people the confidence that if you elect us, you don't have to worry about giving you comprehensive report on a quarterly basis in terms of the finances. As you all on this show, we record most of the conflicts with Liberian Association revolves around money. because people don't have integrity. They compromise their integrity because of money. But that would not be the case with Sayundi and I. Both of us have,
Mr. Jones,
yes, sir.
yes, you hit the nail on the head. Even we were still going to mention that, but this is not the first time we hearing this thing here. They will say A, we will talk about A, and then when the time comes, well, I'm not going to be the one to vindicate you here this evening here, but we'd like to hear it from the house's mouth. You know the root causes of how these Liberian-based organizations are fragmented, lack of financial accountability, transparency. Thing that all refer to mention that captured my imagination from the president was, I never heard one of these days any president to come here to say, I volunteer. They don't. And I know when she was going to volunteer in Katrina, look, she didn't get where to do. She want a white woman. I know people will say that. Looking for trouble on their self. Those are the. This is why even when you're looking for a job here, there's no any job that you look for in this country here that inscription would not be there. So it gives me some different feelings about it. But notwithstanding, we still have to ask these questions. Are you guys aware the chaotic situation we're having within the Liberian-based organization is all money, money, money. People who you don't even imagine to do things, they can flip the coin and then you all lock down, you're speechless.
Well, for me, I can say this, Afonso, in terms of transparency, I come from a background where integrity is what I do at work. Matter of fact, the company that I work for, they would randomly run checks on us just, to make sure that we are being very ethical. And so that has been part of my professional background. Now, community leadership is strictly on a voluntary basis, as you may know. We make our sacrifices. We use our own resources, human capital. In the end, there are rumors, there are gossip, insults, innuendos. You name it. But notwithstanding, we decided to take up the challenge because we felt that we wanted to use our influence to better off the lives of our people. Most importantly, to have a bigger platform so that we can provide quality services for our people. And that is the driving force. And you heard the president-elect saying that she volunteered. So imagine if she did that a couple of years ago. She can do more than what she did a couple of years ago. And we are very prepared to participate, to engage our people, and to make sure that they are being fully represented at all levels.
Okay, I know the president wants to come in here. Mr. Joyce, I know you want to come. I know she has something here. Let's hear from you here.
Sure. When it comes to accountability, for me, like Sando, I'm from a family background. My father, Mr. Joseph D. Kofa, taught us good moral ethics when it comes to honesty and integrity in our home. So I know that we're tested with money all over the place, and what will happen if you take money that don't belong to you. So and I worked in Liberia before coming here. I ran a program called the Christian Foundation for Children and Aging. I started with Don Bosco Homes, if you remember that program. Okay, I started working with Don Bosco Homes and Rehabilitation as a secretary, and I got later promoted as administrator for that program. That program was to cater to underprivileged children in poor neighborhoods, in and around Monrovia, through the Don Bosco Salesians. And my office was at the Catholic Secretariat. And I ran that program with a budget of close, starting from 5,000, we're going up to about $20,000 or $30,000 before I came here in 1998. And the records are there. I ran that program with honesty before I left the Bosco Homes and migrated to this. My parents wanted me to, because my father had come here on political asylum. So I came, and my family, my husband's side, and I joined him. But I ran that program without any problem. The head office is in Kansas City. I remember when we joined the United Methodist Church here in the States, and they wanted me to work with the membership committee in raising money for the church. And then even I went to them after the Ebola crisis and asked them to please help my people um, through my father's foundation called the Kofa Foundation with my sister Deconti, who lost her husband Patrick Sawyer in through the Ebola during those years, 2014.
Yeah.
And I asked the church to help me, and we raised about the church raised about $18,000. And I went to Liberia, and I gave that money to organizations that were there, and we sent containers of medical equipments, and I went around to victims of Ebola, children who were out in the streets, children who were in orphanages, and divided food, and I even started a sustainable program with one of the orphanages and told them to do something, some livestock farming, the chicken coop, to raising chicks and something like that to help support them. And they brought that idea. And when I worked with the University of Liberia as a national chair, national treasurer, with a budget starting from 1,007 to close to $50,000 or $100,000, I was audited after my term. And the auditor then was Mr. David Kimber. I think he's gone to Liberia to be an auditor there, or Auditor General Liberia, I think. He praised us, the association for having such a good, financial standing. And in that organization, we developed a financial policy, which I'm going to bring to this organization, to LP. We have a financial team. We will develop financial policies to guard, the monetary flow within the organization. When you put those things in place, it's difficult because there's a check and balance, in the accounting, policy, the accounting of the organization. I'm trying to say. So when you put those things in place, where the president really, you don't need to have money in your home or in your pocket, but the money is in the bank, and there's a voucher system and a proof of system to the accounting policy for what you can take and what you can do and what you cannot do. That comes in with agreement with the executives and the board. It would be difficult for any one person to go, and have fun with the organization money. So that's what I think is the core of every organization. And that's what exactly I told Sando we are going to bring to this organization. So watch us. There would not be any problem when it comes to accountability.
All right, we're here. We'll be watching. I love when you say I told Sano. This is where my disagreements, even on a larger scale, people, Vice President, I don't agree with that. That's just is just totally out of track. A vice president should be equipped as the president. In the event the president is something, the vice president should be able to step into proxy the affairs until otherwise. So,
yes.
Yeah. So let me ask you here. Let's have this question here. What would be the task dedicated on your watch as the chief administrator to the vice president to make sure that the vice president not just only waiting the day the president can on behalf of the president? I don't want to be that kind of vice president. I want a vice president who will also take on assigned task and have it completed fully with less supervision. I know him. So I don't know him to be a bold guy, to be an idle person, and I don't think I'm quite sure my guess all of this conversation will help. But let's bring it into daylight here.
Okay.
What task do you see yourself dedicating to your vice president to make him more viable?
Okay, first of all, the reason why I choose my vice president, the person that I choose, is because I know he's a man of integrity and task oriented. And when he starts or he gets on a task, he gets it done. Since we've been working together, there's nothing, Sana and I discussed to do. Like he said, okay, I will take care of it, and it wasn't taken care of. So I know he's competent enough to run this organization, you understand, in my absence, or when anything is going wrong, that he needs to come in. So I know that I trust him on that level. I would say that first. And then secondly, he would never be a president to just sit there. He would be an ex officio on many committees. Okay, he will run some committees, We will work together as a team. It's not going to be an I thing. No, I'm just saying this because, those are the ideas I put forward to him that encourage him to come and run along with me. But this is a we team, and we have experts on our team and in this organization that we are sure will make things happen. And Sano has been doing it already. He's done it before, and I'm sure he's competent enough to do it. So we will be working together. I'm not perfect. He's not perfect. I don't know everything. You understand? There are many things Sano knows about the community because he's been here for over 3 decades that I don't know. He will tell me. I say, oh, okay. And some things I tell you, say, well, I know I got this. I know about it. We have a conversation every day. We talk to each other every day. There's nothing we have done that the other person is left out of. So I trust that he will be a good vice president working along on this team. He will do his best, and I can see it. I saw that from the beginning. So he will be part of everything that we do. He would never be left out in the loop. So I was just saying that to say, I was explaining myself to him who I was and what I've done, so he understand where I come from, and I know he understands that. But of course, he will be part of. He will run many committees, and he will help to run programs and projects. Of course, I know he can do it. He's competent enough.
Okay, let's practicalize our conversation and so he will start working. So, because for sure, this guy, when you're packing, he will go find tire and pull tire.
No, he's not.
He will go get tire and pull it. If it's possible to buy engine, he will go buy engine.
Yes.
Tire, in that garage. Let's practicalize the conversation here. Mr. Johnson, let me just bring you in here. I think you are listening. Were this conversation held behind the scene?
Well, we talk every day, and as I stated earlier, one of the reasons I chose to come on board because I felt that there was chemistry between the president-elect and I, and I felt that one of the things that make a leader great is actually not the office that they occupy or the title that they hold, but the team that they have surrounded themselves with. I usually tell people, institutions don't make anybody, but people make use of institutions. If you are not smart, you got a smart guy and took him to Harvard. A guy who is not smart, you put him in Harvard. When he doesn't have the foundation, he's not automatically going to be smart. But people go to school at Harvard because they try to make use of the institution, not institution making them. So, one of the tenets of leadership president-elect demonstrated was to bring a highly qualified guy on board, and that demonstrated to me that she was ready for us to move, the community forward. We have discussion on a lot of things, and there are so many things that she wants to do. And with the team that we have, there shouldn't be any reason why there shouldn't be any reason why we can't accomplish a lot of the things that we want to do. During the campaign, one of the things we didn't do, we were not going out there making promises, because our Liberian community. You don't promise people bridges when there are no rivers. Then you get stuck. So we were very practical. We're not promising you X, Y, Z, but when you elect us, one thing we can assure you, we will bring the community together and we'll move on from there. We try to get the other things. People talk about community hall, they talk about social and all of those things, social programs and all of that. Almost the entire team they have the expertise in that. And those would be things we do. But I can guarantee you, Alfonso, please don't doubt the president-elect. She is ready. She is ready. You've been in Pennsylvania so many times. Not too many women will even want to jump in the race to want to take the presidency of this state.
That's what I was asking you that question. I don't know which side she slept, on the left side or on the right side.
Right. But the fact that she could jump amongst men, and I'm not talking about boys, I'm talking about men. You come here most of the time, Alfonso, you know how Pennsylvania is. But she got right in and she got a very warm reception. And I think part of that is because she have the gravitas for the presidency. She prepared herself. She went through the ranks and files. She just didn't jump from somewhere one day and say, I want to be president. She in 2019, she ran for the general coordinator. Prior to that, she did other community work like immigration, the housing assistance, COVID-19, Ebola. So those are all things that she has under her belt. So when she decided to run, yeah, there were low resistances here and there, which of course we expected, but she was prepared. And here we are today. And so I'm very grateful to be her vice president, and I look forward to making Pennsylvania one of the greatest states in terms of community leadership.
Okay, Mr. Josh, I believe you wanted to.
Yes. Let me say hi to you people and congratulations for your win in leadership. I got a comment. I got a question. A comment. Mr. Johnson just said there was some pockets of, I don't know, resistance or whatever. But how do you intend to, or how do you intend to unify that community? And secondly, I heard something about court issue. What was this lawsuit about in the community? And the third would be, many of the organizations would say, the librarian organization, community organization, by the time people ascend to the leadership, the next thing we see is political office that they are in Liberia. What would be the difference between you people and the rest of the other people?
Okay, so your first question was about the code, right?
No, the first question was about how people intend to unify the community, because there were some lawsuits I think you have mentioned earlier.
All right.
And I know that brings bad blood into the community, because lawsuit, we know how you look at everybody, take the side, go into the corner. My first question was, how do people intend to unify the community?
All right. So we a couple of the interventions that we want to use in terms of bringing the community together, we are looking at, we talk about involvement. How will people get involved? You have to engage and motivate people through what means. We decide to have, one of the things we actually want to do aggressively is we want the Librarian Association to be, we want the functions to be held through the breadth and length of the state. We do not want it to be heavily focused in one section. We want to decentralize the Librarian Association, going into areas where, the previous administration have never been, the greater Northeast. Other counties like Bucks County, Chester County, there's a huge librarian population over there that people have never gone to. York, PA, Arlington, these are places where there is no visibility of the Librarian Association. So we believe we want to start conducting sections, conducting awareness, having meetings in these places, having town hall meetings, encouraging people to come on board, and just telling them, look, this thing is for all of us. Please come on board, bring your suggestions, bring your concerns. If there are issues, bring them on board, recommendations. And we think once you get people involved, there will be a lot of things we achieve. And then another thing we have decided to do, we are looking at having a jamboree. And that jamboree would be something that would be held somewhere that is more accessible to everybody. And we encourage everybody who have not been a part of the community to come on, where we have a formal program. We have speakers where people will talk, people will engage people, so that we put all of our personal issues behind us and we move the community forward. Those are just some of the strategies that we want to use. And I will yield to the president-elect so that she can further elaborate. I see that she wants to add some point. Madam President, I yield to you. I think she's muted.
Are you hearing
Okay.
us? Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, Mr. Vice President, yes. Can you hear me? Can you hear me clear? Because
Yes, loud and clear.
can you hear me clear? Okay. And, we have already started that work. Okay. We have already started the work of unity. During the campaign time, we reached out to those people. We called them and told them we understand because of the division and fight and things that were going on within this organization. So you guys decided to form your own little groups, of people, because you still want to have a sense of belonging to your community. However,
Mm-hmm.
this Liberian Association of Pennsylvania would like to collaborate with you and bring all of you on board so we can work together. We might have a project to help ourselves in this community or Liberia, where we come from. They say one head is better and two heads are better than one. So I would like to bring you all on board so we can work together. And we called them. They were very receptive, to the idea. And they still are waiting. We intend on going to those places and having those mini town hall meetings with our people to hear their concerns and interact with the people. Either choose polls or meeting of some event. After our win, we are planning on a big program to invite everybody so we can all meet each other at some point in time. And also have representatives in those areas. We have a coordinator within our team. She's responsible to liaise with those people in the various areas where, whenever there's an event or some information that needs to read out to them. We intend on creating a bigger database than what we have now online, where people can just go there on the website and register to be a member or see activities of the organization on a daily basis or whatever we do within the community. So when people have a sense of belonging where they are involved, they will all come on board. So we believe, with that unity piece, with that work, we have planned to unite people. People will come on board. So I want to say thank you.
Okay, let me just so
Yeah.
let me just do a follow up. So, what set you people aside from past administration that you want this community to look up to you?
Okay.
You said what set us apart from
Yeah,
the previous administration, right?
yeah, that you want this
Well,
community to put the trust
well,
they have already given you the trust. So, what set you people aside,
Right.
different from
but I think it's pretty easy though. They
I don't
voted
know.
for us because they voted for us because they felt that we're bringing something new. it was not it was because of the old doing the business the old way. Then they were rather to keep the old administration, but they decided to bring us because we articulated our vision, and I think the things that matter the most to them were we talk a lot about just community involvement and integrity. You know, that has been one of the key issues in community leadership. People, are not trustworthy, and so we said it very. We told them we not promise you the world, but you let us. One thing we assure you, you will know where your money is. You will get text messages, emails in terms of financial report on a consistent basis. We will not keep you on a blind side where you don't know what is going on. We inform you every now and then, every way in terms of the finances. We will not keep you in darkness. We'll send you text messages. We'll call you. The database, matter of fact, that the president-elect just spoke about, we intend to utilize that database to reach out to all of the people that participated, all of the people that voted in terms of just sending them text messages. This is what we'll be doing. This is what is going on. Because I think when you constantly engage people, then you make them feel that they are a part of something. But if you leave them, previously, most time around here, people get very excited and enthusiastic only around elections time, and we don't want to do that. Immediately after we are being sworn in, our work begin until the next election. We are not going to sit by and just wait on the election time and then we'll come back. So we want to
Okay.
constantly engage our people. And those are the things we want to do.
No, you already get a cat out of the bag because once that right hand is being raised, taking that oath, who knows, maybe the governor or the mayor going to guess. I'm just making the educated guess here. So let's start this conversation here by saying there's no way that there are no challenges and we cannot just undo it. There are challenges there. Upon swearing in, what are the challenges being marked by your administration to be immediately to get rolling to tackle that? What are some of those challenges? I watch the images, and which of course is normal. Once somebody now win election, that fraudulent election, when they win is cool. That's a perfect election commission. The entire process is transparent. That one United Nations monitor. Once they lose it, it's not one. And those people will always be there. They are part of a society. We cannot undo them. Madam President, Mr. Vice President, what are the challenges ahead now that you have earmarked
Yeah.
upon taking that out of office after your inauguration that you want to you're going to be addressing immediately head on?
You want to go, Madam President?
Well, you said it right. Yes, I'll go. You said it right. There's nothing in life that comes with success with that is successful without challenges. We've been facing challenges all along before the during the campaign, before the campaign, and after we won. And we knew that, I mean, there's no way we're not, we had opposition during the campaign, but we welcomed them, you know. I told them, we called them, they came along, they conceded, they agreed, the opposition, they got Mr. Foley, who was running against us, agreed. He came to our virtual party and he congratulated us and he said he's willing to work along with us. And we are willing to work along with him, So that I know we still have the challenges of other people who will oppose things that we do. It's part of life. But we are willing to work along with people, and if there's anything that they need to know, that the public need to know, we'll be willing to show them or tell them what's going on. There's no secret in this administration. This is our country. So I don't. There's no need to hide anything. I mean, if we are doing the right thing, there will be nothing to hide. And some of the challenges we had was we brought in some people from the old administration. And I said to people, listen, if the people in the old administration look at us to be competent people, and if they started something, that they finish it, and they think we are the ones who are going to do it, they follow us. They decided to come along, and you cannot want to amend and make peace in a way that you are not peaceful. And those people serve the community, they play their part. And if they want to do it more and they want to come on board, we welcome them on board. This is a new administration. We have our own plans and agenda to put the community together and do what is right. We are the heads, so we're going to make sure whoever come along and follow us will do what we need is best for the community. So I don't have any problem with somebody who was there before coming on board. Maybe there's something on board, and we welcome that. So we're going to work with everybody, especially our opposition. I there were
Okay.
people from the opposition that won, and we have challenges, but we are willing to work along with them.
Okay.
Hello?
So, Jonathan, you want to come in?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. We want to welcome our man. I says it. He was in Liberia. I saw you take a rest. We would love to have you tire answering questions. Just let us know. Sister Goya is our analyst based in Minnesota. Go ahead, Jonathan.
Yes, I just like to say thanks to President Kumuti and Vice President Sandal Johnson for the way they annex, their thoughts about how they will move the community forward I heard her say that the normal Liberia playing game, they are shifting from it with with a 24,000 residents of Liberians in that community. They are mostly thinking about the involvement of the youth and the inclusion of the greater population that have not been reached from previous administration. And she also mentioned about the we team, not our team, the we team. And then I admire Sandra Johnson when he spoke about what she saw in him, that for which he himself accepted the competence. She's not the kind of person that is territorial to say, look, this guy too competent. I don't need a very competent vice president. I need someone who I can just pull here and there and have my work done. So I mean that cohesiveness, that togetherness, and that thought of having innovation, having people that got innovation and creativity to come to the team, I think it's a beginning part. And I must say bravo to you all. Notwithstanding, we look up to seeing your deliverables, because the media too got to put you on the landscape, which is very good for you. Where you make gains, we have the responsibility to promote it. Where there are shortcomings, we also have the responsibility to highlight it so that you take corrective measures. But as it is, I must say thank you for the efforts you all have made over a period of time.
Two can't praise people here. That is too soon. They not take office yet. Okay, they not take office yet. So, okay.
Thank you very much. You
Yeah.
don't mind, Alfonso, if I just come in quickly and throw some emphasis on the challenges that you alluded to earlier, if you don't mind, please.
Yeah, go ahead, Mr. Johnson.
All right. So quickly, as you may know, from a leadership perspective, every leader that takes office, obviously there will be challenges. You have one which will be internal, and then one will be external. The internal conflict had to do with, with every new leadership, people will start fighting among themselves. Everybody want to get close to the president. Everybody want to be close to power and all of that. Those will be some of the challenges. That is just typical. And what we intend to do, we use conflict resolution as the means, to resolve those conflicts easily. Matter of fact, just one incident recently. Well, it was not a conflict, but the president-elect, we had a strategy meeting, and she said to all of the board members, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, I want all of you, as much as we don't have a board chair, but we will highly appreciate all of you to sort things out, work together, come up with one person who would be elected as the board chairman. And they all agreed to us, yes, don't worry about it. We'll work on that. So those are just some of the challenges, but it depends on some of the strategies you use when there are challenges in any leadership. Then you talk about the external challenges. Those are things that are outside. People are mad because we won. How do we get to bring them on? At times, people, because of their own limitations, they don't want to be a part of something. So what do? Those are people we build confidence, we engage them, motivate them to bring them back. There will be challenges like funding, which are some of the external challenges that we don't have control over. How do we get money, to carry on some of the massive, quick impact projects that we want to undertake? We will have to, come up with grant writing proposals and doing all of those things, bringing the right kind of people on board, talking to people who can link up with community resources to get those things done. But the beauty about everything is when Sayoni decided to run, she put a team together where the entire team are people from very different disciplines that would just help to move the community forward. So I will yield back to you, Mr. Soul.
Yeah, Mr. Joyce, I'm going to come to you. I beg you, because I'm not here to play softball. These people, they must be held accountable. Right now, my hair is spinning. I am worried. I am troubled. And here why. The Unions of the Liberian Association, EULA, my own EULA, I served as a chairperson 4 years on that commission. We did a lot of stuff. Mr. Johnson,
yes.
The EULA based in Pennsylvania and its surroundings, more or less has been outsourced to the government of the Republic of Liberia. No
Yes.
question about that. You know, I know. Here we are hearing these sort of good outlined visions of this administration. First of all, I want to know this leadership relationship with that of the EULA chapter based relationship in that. What would be the kind of fine line I'm going to be drawing here? I listen to the president strictly humanitarian or work, but I'm afraid before some sort of pollution take place with her good work, with the politics that has been so much embedded within EULA to the extent that EULA is being outsourced to the government of Liberia because everybody looking for something to do. It's good to serve your country, but we just do not know who are the advocates and who are the go-getters in getting job. I want to know, let's look into the eyes of LPR camera now. What would be the relationship with that EULA-based branch there? What are some of the things that you will agree with, or some of the things that you will say, you know what, this is not who we are, this is not what we told the people, this is not what the people voted for?
All right. So when it comes to EULA politics, there are, well, the current president of EULA, just for full disclosure, he is a senior brother and a professional colleague. We worked together before. We are neighbors, and I trust his judgment in terms of doing what is for the greater good of the Liberian in the United States. I don't doubt his judgment. Now, as far as their connection with the Liberian government, frankly, we have decided as our, as leader of our chapter, we weren't going to get too heavily involved with that.
Too heavily. Hold on one second. Don't can't be too correct here. Too heavily. It's relative. What are you talking about? Let me bring in the chief executive here because you're trying to.
No, but you asked me, so you want to get my personal opinion? What would be the take on the EULA politics for the Liberian government? Is that what you're asking?
Not your personal. Whatever statement you made here, Mr. Johnson, is the position of the administration. That I want you to know.
All right. So I would say this. The president, I think we have settled on, we will work with EULA in terms of making sure that the purpose for which EULA was established be carried out to the fullest. Now, if you read the vision of EULA, EULA was not established to be functional in Liberia. It's strictly based in America. And those are the functions for which we will support the current president of EULA.
Okay, let me ask the president here. She's the chief executive. What will you not do when it comes to that EULA sort of playbook?
Should not take any job in Liberia.
No. You know what? To be honest, I really don't have here. The government want to go. No, let's be honest. I don't want to be like a single fan. I don't want to work for the government.
Let me first of all say
you should be proud to work for your country. I want work.
Let me first of all say
But why you take to your authenticity? Why you taking in? That's what matters. Yeah, go ahead, Madam President.
Okay. I want to first of all say I understand it's a subset of EULA. Our umbrella organization is EULA. But constitution was made for the organization in order to create greater awareness of Liberians here, to promote friendship, economical opportunities for Liberians here in the state of Pennsylvania. Okay, and this is a non-profit, non-political organization. So there are limits in what we can do and what we cannot do. We may have our opinions of what goes on within our government or with EULA, but there are limits in what we can do and what we cannot do. And that, Personally, there are things I will agree or disagree with if they ask me my opinion. But I feel we have so many issues within our community that we need to approach and help our community members more than going into what the government is doing back home. But we, I mean, if we are competent enough and they see us as people who can bring their expertise to the country and they want us to help in a way, there's nothing wrong with that. I don't see anything wrong with that. But it's not the purpose for which we are coming together as a community in the United States.
What will you not do?
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no, I'm asking. There are things you can do. There are things that you
what
can't.
I will not do.
What will you not do?
Is that a general question or the question?
Maybe you can start the page.
Well,
maybe you can start the page.
I will not try to delve into the
100,000.
Here. We saw the suspended minister coming out here and talking about if possible they're going to give money here and they're going to add the budget. That is ridiculous.
In my opinion,
just do the. It's going to be an extension to your branch as well. Will you do that? Will you accept?
Yeah. I mean, personally, like I said, because we are non-profit, non-political, we shouldn't be delving into the politics, that deep enough where we accept money. I think we are here to help our people here and help our people there. So every day, and the amount of money we send to help our people is, I don't know, in the billions of dollars that we help, we send back home. So is it a good idea to take some of my money and bring it back here and then carry it back home? I mean, that's a circle I don't see, is right for me, but it depends on what EULA says and what the Constitution says or what they want to do. But within the LDP, we will not be taking money from outside of the country to bring inside, and then we can
to have the sort of voice
used to help our people in our communities. So we want to concentrate on that. Yeah.
Good. All right, good. We just want to make Mr. Joyce?
Yes. Let me push back. Mr. Johnson says something about EULA. You have the Constitution, I think so. But EULA have not led up to that Constitution, because if you look at EULA leadership, they have always been deeply involved in Liberian politics from 1979 up to this person. So they were not just, they had not concentrated on in the states based on their own constitution. Their constitution had not been here. Everybody see leadership got something to do with government in Liberia from 1979 up to this person. The more recent one was the induction ceremony where the then Minister of State, suspended minister, came here and gave 30,000. And some all frown on it. So EULA had not been living up to the expectation, seeking the well-being of Liberians in this country. They are not lived up to that. But let me just ask you, you spoke about the board. First question is, how many board members do you people have? And the second one is, what are the board members bringing to the table? Because I get tired in the board on Liberian organization. They don't bring anything. I know other board members on other institutions go out there to look for financing and things. But the Liberian organization board member, I do not see them bringing anything to the table. Instead, all they want is confusion and things. So first thing is, how many board members do you people have? Second, what they will be bringing to the table?
All right, so we have, in total, we have 9 board members. And if you ask my opinion, I think the primary responsibility of any board is to provide guidance and oversight responsibilities in terms of the day-to-day affairs of, the leadership. That is primarily what a lot of them supposed to be doing. All right. Unfortunately, high egos and people having their personal issues and maybe their own political aspirations, they get easily diverted. But the board members that came on board, I think the beauty about most of the board members, almost all of the board members, not even almost all of the board members that are joining this leadership, this is their first time coming on board. And the beauty about that is most of them come from a very diverse backgrounds in terms of their families, in terms of their experiential work history and education. So we're very confident that these people would not sit and give us a free checkbook to just go around and have fun. They will make sure that they will provide us with everything that we need in terms of oversight responsibility. They will hold us accountable. They will make sure that there will be some hard questions if we are not doing what we're supposed to do. So I can assure you that.
Madam President, you want to speak to that?
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, yeah, like you said, we have 9 board members, and and of course, I according to the Constitution, 2. Well, you saying something?
No, go ahead. I know what I was
Hello?
saying. Yeah, are you hearing me? I don't know. Our system is corrupted. Are you hearing me?
Yes, I'm hearing you now.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. No, the reason we are asking all of these questions.
Yes, I'm hearing you now. Yes.
Yeah. So I mean, this is not like a temple of justice or whatever before trial yet. The reason we are asking all of these questions, some of these board members, they just do not know their function. Sorry to say, they want to play the role of the administration. The board should cooperate, collaborate with the administration, go out there and find resources.
Right.
They're not paying their due. They're not doing anything. Program. They want to be recognized as board members. They don't want to pay to go to get a gating. They end up being more headache to the administration and creating problems. So we have to ask all of these questions to not just only administration. I've seen that. It happened with my own board association in Grand Gide. You know, you have almost 32% board member. What the heck these people are going to discuss in a
That's way too much.
You know, it just doesn't make sense. We need to talk these things in a very honest fashion. Go ahead.
Trim some of these things down.
42 board members, Grand Gide Association.
Tell me, talking about people that are in the conference room, what are you talking until the year can point in? Where are you going to achieve nothing?
Right, but on a serious note, Alfonso, I think what we got working for us,
and
I think she wanted to speak on something.
Yeah, go ahead, Madam President.
No, I wanted to say, and I agree with you, Alfonso. I agree that the board members should go out there and bring in some resources and work along with the administration to get things done for the organization. I totally agree with you with that idea, you know. So I've worked with organizations that do that. That's how they function and they succeed. You know, board members are given, you know, duties to help bring in stuff or bring in projects that we can work along with, or bring in resources for projects that the administration put forth. And that's a good way to run. Then in that way, everybody could be sitting and be doing something other than just having board meeting and asking us questions and want reports, and you have no input in what's going on. Because when they come in with their own input, then they can ask questions, and the questions will be asking each other the same questions, and everything will be fine. So I totally agree with you. Hopefully, this board will be the kind of board that will work, because I have some expert members and experienced people on this board. And I can see that because they have already started working, you know, a board member and myself, 2 of them, and I spoke and we're talking about, you know, what programs or projects to bring. So I hope, you know, this will continue and it will be a better, you know, situation this time around.
Let's pivot a little bit here, because our board and they're good at impeaching. Believe me, when it comes to impeaching overnight, going to impeach they're going to impeach president. But let's come here a little bit here, Mr. President, Madam, Mr. Vice President. Let's look at the social services aspect of these Liberian-based organizations. Considering your background, more or less, it is 80 to 95%. I've also come to realize most of our organization, okay, our people, that's okay. But we also have people here who are in desperation. People need help. and much is not being done. I pay my money, I give it to people. I mean, our people, I just want to say as it is. There are other people in the community. If the community having something, they don't care. They're doing their doubles, they're doing their triple. But when strategy hit them, they want the organization to take 99% of the responsibility when they not even put nickel or dime. I think that is unfair. It is unacceptable. And these are the challenges facing our librarian-based organization and sometimes leaders. You don't want to be too mean. And as a result, President, you're on a paycheck, your salary, you're on a paycheck, we're not going because they're not coming. But when you don't go there, the president not show up, the vice president not show up. But when the chapter or when the organization is having something, they not put down in there. But when somebody die, they want the mother organization you give 2,000 to get into the 4,000. How much you put there? Who want the money they're going to give you? Those things need to be stopped. How do you intend to address these sort of unavoidable situations that is happening on a daily basis?
Right.
It will come your way.
So I'm hoping, and I know we will have policies when it comes to those situations. Okay. Personally, I'm a member of a community team called the French Initiative. Sano is also just a group of friends that come together to help sympathize or help people in need in times of crisis. And we have rules. And what you're talking, exactly what you're talking about, a situation has come about where someone is not a part of the French Initiative, or is a part and decide to not donate or pay the dues or or help when we are asking for help. But when something happened to them, they come blasting and or crying and wishing that miracle will work for them. And we've been straight on that. We laid out the rules that if you are part of this initiative, when something is going on, if you contribute, we will contribute to you when something goes wrong. If not, you are part of the community. We'll ask the community to help you. But give you what we've been giving other people. And it's been working out, people see that. So people started to come in and contribute when something happened to somebody all the time. Right. I mean, it's a minimum contribution of $25. Yeah. So people are coming to contribute that $25 when something happened to somebody. I said, let me pay you because you never know when something will happen to me. And it shows if you don't pay, I mean, it's not force, it's a friendship contribution. But if you don't pay into others, it tells, because when something happens to you and you need that help where everybody will come and contribute, believe me, many people will not contribute. And then they call.
And that Avarenson, Sela Coco, no contribution, no.
Because you didn't contribute. So.
Okay, so when is it never?
Yes, and we have a policy where they contribute when you lost. Yeah.
Immediate relative.
When is the inauguration?
I can hear you.
When is your inauguration?
Tentatively.
As you know, elections is happening. Yeah.
I think what tentatively went.
We are looking at before Thanksgiving, actually.
Okay. Well, our doors are open. Will you have an open book with the media have access to your financial record?
Of course.
I'm asking.
Yes, indeed. I think she's frozen, but she mentioned something about the French initiative, right? Okay, she's back on. Okay. Can you hear her?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so
I was just asking whether will you have an open financial book, record, media going to have access? I shouldn't necessarily live in Pennsylvania. You can't tell me you're not in Pennsylvania, so what you want to do with our record? It's about the community. Whatever you're doing is about the community. And I think if there's a good coming out of Pennsylvania, the leadership there, potentially other state leadership will follow suit. That's the essence of it. We're here to intercede, not for, not against, but put out what is right, because that way other people can learn to basically. I mean, that's part of it. So hopefully we will be a good friends.
Yeah.
So
for the beginning, you heard that we are about 24,000 members, residents of Liberians in the state of Pennsylvania, 24,000 or more. That's what I learned. To be able to answer questions to everybody when it comes to the finances, at every moment, it will be kind of chaotic. So I think we will have a system in place. And you're welcome to ask for the financial documents if you want to see, if you come to our office, I think the best way to do it is if you ask for it, if you request for it, we will show it to you. But
okay.
But is this something that you can put online?
Yeah. Well, you can email, you can call.
No, it's the thing here. I know Mr. Johnson.
Well, we will put it online, but
Yeah.
it will be email. We cannot just open it up for.
I also, for me,
for every
yeah,
so,
I'm afraid.
Yeah, it will be available.
Right. I think people who should have it should have it. If you're not paying due, you don't need it. Why you want it? People, I'm talking about members who are paying
for the accountability,
sacrifices. They should be able to know what is going on. Yeah,
right.
Is the thing. Part of the conversation we are having, and the problem we are having, all of these problems, not just only here in the diaspora, in Liberia.
Yeah.
We say one thing and we don't do it. So it makes it very difficult to even hold the government feet to the fire, because people here are being their behaviors, their way of doing things is worse and terrible than the Nathaniel McGee we are talking about. If the U.S. was to start sanctioning people here on these Liberian-based organizations, believe me, a lot of them, they will not get in no greyhound to go from one state to another. Yes. So we need to start this bleach. What we're trying to put together, we need to start. Everybody must be bleached. Even who sit here to facilitate this conversation, it doesn't mean I'm sitting here. I should just throw anything out there that will cause confusion. All of us, everybody must be held accountable. If that is done, sadly, this is not what's happening in our community, in our society. People justify wrongdoing, and you have a group of people cheering these people out of their bad behavior, of their arrogant behavior, of the disrespectful attitude to other people, and people say, yeah, this is why we are having this problem. So if we put ourselves together here, believe me, especially a Liberian-based organization, we will be respected, we will be accommodated, the people will take us serious in Liberia. And that's what we want to do.
Let me just ask my final question. What is the active membership of your...
So let me
have anything on record?
Let me just... What is the what?
What is
membership?
Membership.
I didn't hear you, sir.
Is it a membership base? He wants to know.
Yes,
well,
it is.
Yes, it is membership base. So according to the records, and Sandro can correct me on that, before we had during the elections, start to vote public, right, Sandro?
Yep.
Hello?
It's coming broken.
Yeah.
Getting you. Maybe
yes.
Mr. Johnson can break it in.
Okay, so you want to know the total amount of registered members, right? Are you talking about registered
Yeah,
members?
yeah, Mr. Johnson. Let me just say this, because I know I've been around this.
Right.
I've been organization, the Liberian organization in Atlanta. I've been around. I know during voting time, you have this huge number that turn up. After that, you don't see them again. So what I'm asking is that the active member, that those who come to meeting, those who pay the due, because election time, I want everybody to show up. I know that.
Right.
That's why I wanted to know what are you to have any record on that.
We do. There are records. I mean, if we base it just on the recent list that came out, in terms of the membership roster, it was around 1,400. But there were a couple of names that were duplicated. And after they did the editing, we came down to 1,100, I think 1,119 or 1,120. That is where it stands. So it's about 1,100, I think, and 19%, or 1,120 around that neighborhood.
4,000.
Yeah, right. But that is where we are. And
Yeah,
as you get ready alluded to, immediately the tradition has always been immediately after elections, people go back right into their corners, and that is one of the reasons why we decided to run for these positions, because we felt that we could use our influence and use a bigger platform to bring a lot of people back on board. Because historically, immediately after elections, people don't care whether the president runs the office or not. Whatever goes on, they don't care. The next 2 years, then they show up again. Even dues, most people don't pay their dues. So we want to change the trajectory this time around. We want to make sure that if you claim to be a member of LAPT, we want to make sure that we engage you to pay your dues on time, not only paying dues, but also come to the meetings. Come to the meetings, be involved, let your voice be heard. Don't just wait 2 years and then you show up to vote for a candidate, but come, help to be a part of the process. There are a lot of things we can do, but we can only succeed if there is collaboration between us and the people that we are leading. Without them, we practically can't do anything. So that is the challenge, and Sandy and I are very, very, very determined to make sure that we completely break that trend and make sure that people are very involved. And that's why we want to start going into the community. We don't want to throw titles on other police badges and just show up when people die or go to parties. We want to have town hall meetings, engage people, go into the communities. We build partnership with people so that they know that we're ready to mean business, they feel comfortable. We want the Liberian Association to be more so like a family-based organization where when something happened to a Franco, he knows that people will be there for him, as opposed to carrying on the selective, things like, well, I know Sayandi, I will go to her place since I'm not too cool with Mr. George. I'm not going there. We don't want to engage into that. We want it to be a broad-based organization where everybody would be actively engaged.
Well, okay, let me just ask you, do you people intend to decentralize this movement? Because people, as you say, your did name 3 counties that have the densely populated Liberians. Is there any plan, something in the pipeline that in the future can say, hey, this bomb meeting will be in this county, so we can come to you people instead of everybody coming to this is north side of Philip? Is that something that people will want to look at?
Absolutely. Matter of fact, our inauguration, we have already ruled that out, that it's not going to be held around here. We want to go, we are going into places that it has never been. We're going to the greater part of Bucks County, where you have it's heavily Liberian populated, but they felt that they have been left out. So we decided we have the inauguration that we are even working on now, making sure that we decentralize all of our meetings. The meetings will not be, heavily focused in Southwest Philadelphia. We want to go to York. We want to go to Downingtown. We want to go to Bethlehem. We want to go to Arlington. We want to go into Bethlehem, Pendle, Morrisville, all of those places. We just don't want to be, into one church in Southwest Philadelphia where it's accessible to the people that live around the South town. We want everybody to feel that they are part of the Librarian Association. Those plans are on the way, and that is exactly how, for the first 2 years that we will be in office, we plan to decentralize all of the meetings. The meetings will not be held in one part of town. Will be all over.
Yeah, I wanted to ask a rhetorical question. I listened to you and so Josh, and including both the president and the vice president, speak of it is normal with Liberian community, whether here, home or abroad. People when they come for occasion and thereafter they will not have interest, they don't really care, they are not motivated to pay their due and to follow up with the duty and the responsibility of the institution. I want to know I heard one aspect of it, which is the movement of activities from one region, one county to another county, which is a very good thing. What other things that will be added? Say, for instance, because the thing that magnet people, I mean, when people talk about hearts and mind connection to organizational structure, institutional structure, it's about the thing that the people of specific local like to do. What can really move them and how it is interspersed with different, activities. If you are from the football, old time soccer, you cannot always make the activity about old time soccer. Old time soccer, the people who love basketball will not come there. And if it is about those who like to hang out and go to the after party, and the others who don't like that other aspect, most of them are engineers, they are people that come with human capital, and it make it difficult for them. So how are you going to intersperse it so that everyone can feel the touch of the institution somehow and be able to always follow up? And lastly, the issue of the financial report they talk about there is very important. It might not be every little transaction, and you can do your little transaction, which will be a petty cash. At the end of the day, the quarterly report is put into summary, and you have all of the expenditure and what have you. But as long as you can give this information as open as possible to the actors to know what have been contributed and what have been a breakdown, you have held them by their balls, and they will know that you are transparent, and they will have no cause to resist as long as you always ask of their help and need. So I just wanted to end up there.
All right. As he's responding, they'll get one more question yet. I mean, we want to make our guests to come by so they can say, we're not, they play about, we told play it.
Well, let me make a comment to what he just said. I promise, and would be part of the financial policy that we will give a quarterly report to our members and the public. Now, as much as we are responsible to do that, we want to hold our people responsible to come and listen to this report. Because, if we are giving a report in March and we call a community meeting, we'd expect people to come and listen to this report. We don't want to finish with a report and I go home and 50 persons calling me and asking me for every line item and have questions. That's what I was saying. The idea of putting it out for everybody to ask questions at any time they want to is not a good idea. So we need to be structured. We are in the United States of America. And so there are structures and policies and procedures to follow. We will call a community meeting and produce of what we need to do for the year, and we share that with our coordinators in various areas of Pennsylvania. I would expect our members to be responsible enough to, go through that at that time when it's giving when it's given, when report is being presented to the public, because we will not be able to. I mean, the vice president or the members of the executive will not be able to answer questions to everybody every day concerning the report. That would be the time for them to come at that meeting and ask questions if they have questions to the report. So it will be available, but that's the way it's going to be available.
Okay. All right. Well, time has taken away here. Let's do the last one here, and then we'll let you guys know. This is a touching one. I just want to know the relationship, the kind of relationship that your administration will cement with the state of Philadelphia, both local and state, aim at targeting the most needed, or I would say the Liberian-based group, in terms of mobilizing resources here. What sort of relationship you see yourself, your administration, building with the state of Philadelphia, the city, and the state, in terms of mobilizing resources for targeted groups, Liberian community base?
I'm aware, and I was told by the outgoing president that we do have a spot, or we are members on, I think, the board for Mayor's Commission on Caribbean and Immigration Affairs, Caribbean and African Affairs. I'm sorry. So we are part of that commission, and we also, sit and have meetings and make decisions that would affect our immigrant community. So I think that's a good thing, because this, I heard, I haven't been there, but I was told by the present president that the president is a member of that commission. So at that meeting, I'm sure we'll be discussing issues that will affect our immigrant community, and I will be bringing out issues that would affect our Liberian community mainly. And we are sure, we would like to, and let me say we are sure, to be in touch with our various representatives and mayors in and around Pennsylvania, so they feel our presence, and when anything goes wrong, they will know who to contact.
Okay, good.
And reach out to the people on many issues that will be going on in our community. So we intend to do that. So basically, that's it. We'll be in touch with our various representatives and senators.
All right. Okay.
Because we have rights to vote. So I'm sure they will want us to come around and be the part of what's going on in our community.
Okay, well, Madam President, Mr. Vice President, LPR is always here to enhance your message, not because we are not in Philly. Our base is we are heavily based in fact, that's the headquarters. We are here to form a partnership, collaboration, to be like a town crier for you, if you will. Let us know your program at hand and information you want to get out there to the public. That's part of what we sign up for. We are here to do that for the good of our community and for the good of the country. We want to thank you so much for being here. What is your last word before you guys go? Perhaps there was a certain thing you want to talk about, and because I'm running my mouth here so much, you couldn't get to it, but that's not the end of the deal. What's the last?
All right, let me
Mr. Vice President, you want to go first?
Yeah, let me go first. All right. So, firstly, we want to thank you and your team for giving us the opportunity to use your platform to showcase what we want to do for the state of Pennsylvania in terms of leadership. We also want to thank all of our voters that are listening, even the audience, even the folks that didn't vote for us. We want to thank them for giving us the opportunity. We are not in this because of ourselves. We are in this because we want to use our influence to do what is for the greater good of our community. And so we want to just thank you again for bringing us on board. You can rest assured that we will not disappoint you. And we will invite you also to our inauguration in AP. So I yield back to the president-elect.
We're not allow.
I want to say thank you for bringing us here today to express ourselves and what we are going to do for our community. And we are asking everyone in the state of Pennsylvania, out of the state of Pennsylvania, of community work. And we're asking everybody here, even in the opposition and people who oppose us, we want to welcome constructive criticism, because we know is where, we can give feedback, we can get feedback and break people, but we are here to be servants of the community. And we're asking everybody to respect that, so we can all work together and carry our community forward. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We really appreciate your time. We're also looking forward again to being here. Let us know whatever we can do. We will always make time for the good of our community. Thank you so much. It was a fascinating conversation. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, and we wish your team a very good night.
Thank you.
And you know how to reach us, Alfonso. You can always reach us if there are any branding issues, and we'll be more than glad to come back on.
But when you're bringing you to, you come and let us know. So
Well, come on, of course.
Sorry.
Thank you so much again for having us on tonight, and we look forward. We look forward to coming back.
Let's when we get our inauguration tour, we'll see. We'll make room for it to see and get it out there to the public. Let us know. Keep us posted.
We sure will.
Thank you.
All right. Bye. Okay then. Okay, well, gentlemen, quickly let's push the boy around, and then we will be going. What do you make of it? I mean, very impressive. I know Mr. Johnson and the president herself, her multitudes involvement, professional persons have been making sacrifices, but I know Creole Messick, Philip, Pennsylvania, and all the Halaki place there. But I think once there's a vision, there's a good sense of direction that they can put it on. It just to be strictly to the point. Quickly here before we do our last talking point. What do you make of it? What do you make of it? Jonathan,
I think their move towards the community is quite passionate. We can be apprehensive about the historical parts of Liberian community engagement, but I think she come with definitely with some level of passion or level of housing assistance that she narrated, COVID intervention, Ebola.
There's a unique background that we can reference to say, okay, based on this here, she can bring it to the table, correct? I believe that's your point of...
Yeah, and then her ability to scout, competent people. A lot of people are afraid of competent people being around them, and that should be the drive for innovation. So I think they come with good intent.
Yeah, Pajoy, she committed that the vice president will not be in a garage where there's no line, there's no road tire, and that's what it's supposed to be. I think these people must be assigned responsibility, and that's where when I see on a bigger scale, oh, the vice president position as ceremonial. Give me a break. What you call ceremonial? Then let them wait 26 we dress the vice president and go sit down at BTC, and then somebody be the orator, and that's it. The vice president position is not just a ceremonial. You have a constitutional obligation to perform your task.
No, Mr. So, anytime you hear the people speaking the words, they want to defend somebody. That the vice president position is ceremonial. But let's go and listen to Benny Warner with Togo. See what I mean was seeing the responsibility that he had. But let me just be blunt. It's this political arena. We're coming with all this sort of fact that the president is just ceremonial. But the man himself, let me say, Joseph Walker, Ambassador Walker, one time said it, that 75% of the decision that Eddie made, he did. For me, you know me, I'm both. And he said, how many times he traveled out of the country? I think 75 or plus more time. So how can people come to say the 5% is just ceremonial? People do this thing when they know that they want to defend somebody, person out there that they cannot hold that person responsible for a regime. That's why I see they come up with this thing here. But you know, I always say, Liberian, we are very peculiar set of people. There are people I have seen that come up with good resume, they have good job. I mean, they have experience, educated. But when they come to managing the Liberian community, it's just a whole different ball game for us. We are just different group of people. You know, because from my experience, I saw it in Atlanta. The Atlanta at the time, 2014-15, the association were dead. And young man and brought that association to life. When we got a hall, Mr. So, that man was audited every 3 months. The 2 terms he served, no financial impropriety. But yet, people were not satisfied. At the end of the day, people fought, they had to go to court. So that's how difficult it is. So when you see sometimes people come out and they got a wealth of experience, education, just to come to help the community, but you got few handful of people will not want to cooperate. We always want to destroy.
They are the destroyer. They always want to break down. They are in the Prayer Kingdom War.
Few group of people will just want to sabotage everything that people are doing to help the community. That's how it is. But I know from what she said, what she engaged, I have seen other people like that. But again, the Latino community, the problem is will our people be receptive to these people? That is the challenge. Not them.
Okay, let's go a little bit international in the next 10-15 minutes here. I'm going to play the playbook of the Libra ANC analyst, Pat George. He's also ANC's supporter, not ANC. Am I correct, ANC or Alexander Cummings?
Mr. So, the ANC, I'm not interested in an individual. I'm interested in the institution.
ANC. Okay. All right. I just want to get it right.
Yeah, he's the leader. I'm interested.
Somebody's supposed to have sent me that document. I'm still waiting for it. In fact, as a matter of fact, this weekend, Bowson District, my own district, going to be having a convention here. Liberty Hijack will be here. We're going to be having a display. In fact, we are hearing the author of Liberty Hijack, former Minister Kai Jera will also be here. I think some of us will be blessed to receive our carpet being signed and all of that as well. But I have enough here for those in Rhode Island, Massachusetts. Just let me know. I can drive to your house. It's a fascinating memoir to read. Okay, let's quickly here. Mr. Jeniton. So the DOC, was that today, Alexander Cummings with is that only ANC and Liberty Party wing of Hassan Belete or what?
Yeah, so today it is not. So today the collaborating political parties cemented their agreement between the Liberty Party and the Alternative National Congress, with Mr. Alex Cummings being the standard bearer of that institution. And we are prepared, I mean, to go into full scale conversation with the deliverables. It is
who are the deliverables? Who are the deliverables?
With the deliverables of the things that we need to do in order to succeed in the 2023 election, that is to cut across the nation in terms of our engagement.
I could be wrong, and we're going to find a special time here, Mr. George and Jonathan here. From what I see on playing out, and some of the folks that I talk to, the idea of Ambassador Boyka collaborating or ANC hooking up with Boyka, I think that radar is being thwarted. That conversation here, we can literally say, because Kumi has made his position clear definitively that he is all for the jackpot position, which is the presidency. Boyka is on the other side. Unity Party is not willing to succumb, is not willing to surrender any other thing less than the presidency. Their argument, he has been vice president before. Is it really arguable? I don't know. I can give the definitions of that because I hope to talk to Boyka himself here. But from all indication, ANC now is more or less doing business with other political parties that are looking for recommendations. I did hear Victoria Kukwe, we're making arrangement to have you here, who is one of the close person to Mr. Cummings and vice president on international affairs. There's sort of a portion here. I'm trying to, I need a full context interpretations of this percentage here, whether it's a joint distribution, so it's going to be a proportionate government. If they are elected, that's how they're going to do it. I don't know. But to keep it to the point, do you think Cummings can do business with Joseph Boyka at this point in time, seeing what has been put in place today?
Are you talking to me?
Yes. Then Jonathan can come.
Mr. So here's the thing here. In politics, you cannot rule anything out. Okay? So if anybody come here and say, oh, Mr. Cummings will not do business with Boyka, absolutely, then I would say, no, you may not be right, because in the future, you cannot tell you can't tell what can happen. Yes, he's the standard bearer of the ANC collaboration with the Liberty Party. Yes, Boyka is the standard bearer of the Liberty Party. Yes, but tomorrow you don't know what can happen. They can say, "Hey, we say now we're having discussion. This is what we want to do because we want to get this, and this is the way to go forward." Anything can happen. But the problem here is, if you're a standard bearer of your party, you're just a standard bearer. You cannot rule out anything like that. I will not deal with this group or this group. No, because you don't know what will happen tomorrow. It's politics. I mean, 1 + 1 is 2, but sometimes politics 1 + 1 can be 3. So you cannot come and say, "Oh, brother, oh no." If politician tell you that one, then they're not being honest. You always have to leave room. So that way I will start, because you see, the supporters out there that makes all the noise, they are not in the room if there's a discussion. So yeah, people are outside, they will say, oh, this cannot happen, this will not happen. No. But there's something that everybody looking up to. And that ultimate part is the people, the country, Liberia, not individual. So it may be, if it reach a point that Mr. Cummings and Boyka will have to sit down and say, hey, no what happened? It's not about you and myself, it's about the country. And let's go in the direction. Yeah, but I will not be able to say, oh, it will not happen again, or it cannot happen. No.
Jonathan, you always get the ears of those in the higher up there. Are there any possibilities of ending conversation to get in that sort of political bargaining?
Like Mr. George said, in the business of politics, to be quite honest with you, it is about interest, and as long as it is seen reasonable and no compromises are made, there could be a reason to amalgamate forces as long as they can harness their different interests. But what is very interesting, and I speak as an individual who have been in the spectrum of Liberian politics, at least for a little while, with an understanding, with an open mind understanding, there is an inference. And that inference could be, is it they coming together to be, for Mr. Cummings to be a vice standard bearer? Because we're making a judgment. We're trying to analyze and second guess what it could be. If it is for Mr. Cummings to be a vice
If
senator,
from your ANC doctrine or perspective, your ANC playbook, there's no way at this time that Ellis Coleman can change position, no matter whatever political backing, to come down to say, "Oh, I'm going to be here." Is that possible, or is off the table based on what you are hearing from in the corridor of ANC?
okay, let me leave the inference. I will come to it very quickly. But per question for the ANC perspective, you can only undo Mr. Cummings' ambition to be standard bearer of the collaborating political party when you go and meet those constituent political parties to undo that and then form a new marriage. That is or scientific things that will be have that will lead a conversation, because you have Liberty Party is not just ANC now. You have Liberty Party, and Benedict was very clear. This is no longer your papi. This is no longer your chief. So now he's the chief of 2 political institutions, and it might grow very soon to 4 political institutions and 5 political institutions. So the conversation is getting wider. But when I was speaking about the inference, if Mr. Cummings is to be approached by anybody, or specifically Ambassador Boakai, the inference would be if Cummings accept to be the vice senator to Ambassador Boakai, for just being hypothetical. The inference now would be, is Mr. Cummings not a criminal or an individual that have authored or could have authored or fingered or document for which it was witnessed against him? Because the public have been following. So there will be an answer coming from a particular quarter.
You are putting a very big hook on this whole thing here. Pa George, you want to come in before I go to
let me push back a little bit again on you. All these things, put your finger in this and that. That's why I said the country should be above everybody. We know what they went through. Nobody need to tell anybody. But if, for the sake of Liberia, are you seeing, because of those things, so that there can be no compromise reached among these people? You have to come back to lay all those. We know it happened. That's why in politics, when you go in there, you know what happened. These things will have to be discussed and trashed on Mr. Cummings if he's going to enter discussion with Mr. Boakai, Ambassador Boakai, or VP Boakai to say. The first thing, if he has 2 or 3 other political parties in that collaboration, they will all have to sit and say, hey, this is what I put in front of me. How can we approach it? And get the view of those other leaders. Then he can say, hey, sir, Honorable Boakai, this is where we are. This is our starting discussion.
Okay.
And I said, this is where we are. So to say that, oh, the jail hall, no, those things we know it happened. But because of those things, if Liberia, if these 2 people will be the one to move Liberia forward, will you insist on that? No, I don't think so.
No, I also wants to come quickly with another round of question. But look, Mr. George, I'm a different kind of person. I'm liberal. I'm flexible. Look, I resigned from the Unity Party.
Are you a liberal?
I'm liberal in the sense that I accept different views. Because I have the capacity to counter those views, so I'm not moved whether people try to push me around. That's why I'm liberal. But I resigned from the Unity Party 2012. I became a founding architect of the ANC and incorporator.
Why are you guys living from party? What happens in Unity Party? We're going to find time to talk about it.
Yeah, but let me say,
a woman on this network.
Yeah, but let me say it very quickly. To change the country called Liberia, it would never should be superficial. It should be deliberate.
Okay.
If Ambassador Boakai witnessed against Mr. Cummings in a court that will label Cummings as a criminal, a dent on a 40 years character, look, Jesus Christ said we should even confess our sin. It's clear I can say, look, comments, that thing was not meant, it was not intentional, it was bad. We get moving and let the public know. Period. That's my issue. As long as it's done, we will save the country. But if we can sweep that under the rug, we will act that again.
I talk about sweeping it under the rug, but you insist the way you explain it. That's why I made me to ask you the question. Because if they don't know anything, all this thing will be put on the table. Where you went wrong and where I went wrong, because that's conflict resolution. You know, everybody have to explain their side. Then they say, okay, what is the way forward?
All right, gentlemen.
That's why I'm talking
Time
about.
has cut over. Tomorrow we're going to be back here, but this is the take-home question. You can do that as an assignment. Maybe Mr. Cummins can help you guys to get this here. Everybody else saying it, and he's saying it. Whatever the case, he said he's a good guy. Whatever the case is, but I'm trying to figure out how can he answer, how can he explain, what sort of interpretation will he provide. We have a suspended minister who has been sanctioned by the U.S. government, and we have a sanctioned chairman that he is also collaborating. Hassan Belete. Or is this on a sanction is far removed than the sanctions, or are they in the same calabash? I don't know. But we're going to have that sort of question. How can ANC or how can the political leader of the Alternative National Congress explain that? Possibly we need to have an executive, or even Mr. Cummins himself. Is the sanctions on Belete is kini or that by sanction, it doesn't mean anything, or
We can discuss that, but
there you go. We can discuss that.
We can go into it because
no. What I'm saying now, what you try to do now here, you're playing nice with it now, is not as important as it is. So we want to see the gravity as it is. FIFA sanction, right?
No, you said time.
Yeah. No, that's what I'm saying. I said tomorrow we're going to have time to have that discussed. Let's pull a riot. Hopefully, I'm going to make some phone calls. Probably we're going to have other like-minded people and see. I just want to know what could be the possible explanation. Somebody says sanction. Other people will say sanction or sanction. So what?
The biggest sanction with FIFA, I think you all heard it. One they were in court, and what happened? The majesties. So and
okay. The judge I keep it for tomorrow. And we're going to Ablay. Let's keep it for tomorrow. Yeah. But
all right.
It's a reasonable question. It's a reasonable question.
Right. This guy was on here. Let's go home with this guy, our man here. Let's go home with our man.
Trying to see the side is preventing Honorable Yaka Caliber from going in to the chambers of the house. According to him, the speaker has instructed him to stop Honorable Caliber from going to the chambers after close door consultation with the deputy speaker of the house. So we don't know what's happening here. Honorable Caliber is being prevented from entering the main chambers of the house. Representatives, this is a chamber of the house. And eventually light entering the side of the house. We're trying to see what's happening here. This is Focus on Liberia. My name is Spring. This is the House of Representatives. We're following every bit of what's transpiring here now. Outside of the chambers, in the corridor of the chambers, in the corridor of the House of Representatives, rather. According to the information from the side arms, he been instructed by Speaker Chambers not to allow Honorable Caliber into the main chambers of the house, and we try to find out what's happening here. This is it. So keep following Focus on Liberia. You stay here. And when you're sorry, I will sort you. Okay, when you're sorry, I will sort you. I was in letter, you know what you letter, right? You know what you letter, right? When you're sorry, I will sort you. I was telling you. Anybody comes out, goes out. What the question is, I got my money, when you go buy right, stealing money, and campaign away. You tell me what it. What's that? This is it. All the information about saying it.
What is he? Is that a gun on here?
Yeah.
He coming from praying or what?
I mean, you can do it anyway. I mean, maybe he decided to rest today in Ghana to go to a section. But
My goodness.
look, Mr. So let me be
What a
honest.
drop. Every day is a
No,
Good night. We're not going to relegate this conversation here today. I just want to also get a piece of Yeke Koluba in action. We're going to discuss all of that. I want to see whether he really entered there or he didn't enter. We're going to find all of that tomorrow.
He did not enter. The speaker gave order in advance that when he can, he should not be allowed to go to second.
Yeah, when he said, Speaker Baba Chimapa, he take trouble. In the next 1 week, they're going to cause a hair.
So he's looking for his trouble. Trouble.
Okay. All right, gentlemen. Thank you so much for your time and your expertise always as best commentator. Our man, Sister Goya, is back. So there are going to be more fireworks here. Thank you so much and have a pleasant evening. Okay, folks, we want to thank all of our viewers, our listeners, and folks, wherever you are, thank you so much for your time, for sharing this evening with us, our proud listener. Thank you so much, and have a pleasant evening. So we're going to leave you with these beautiful songs by Minister Wilmont Jacob. Liberty Hijack will be on sale. In fact, it's available right here in the Ocean State. The author will be right here this weekend at the Boston District Convention. If you're into Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, New Hampshire, wherever you are, anywhere, reach out to me as well. So we have tons of it. It can be ordered on Amazon as well. We say a big thank you to our two guests. Sayandi Kofa is the president of the Librarian Community Associations in Pennsylvania, and Mr. Sano Johnson, vice president, for being part of our conversation here this evening. By God's willing, same time, same station. We're going to be right back here tomorrow with more programs right here on the Diaspora Informative News outlet, Liberia Public Radio. Vice President Sandra Johnson, thank you so much. Hawa Makila, thank you. Elizabeth Tote, Paul Double, my uncles. Ellis Kuyage, based in North Carolina, thank you so much for being part of today's program. Rebecca Chia, good evening. Thank you so much. And Marie Israel Emily Pillett, thank you so much for your time. Young Bebo Young, thank you so much. And not forgetting Mr. Mohammed Fofana. Fofo, what's up, my man? Ami Ohisit, welcome. Thank you so much. By Kahin Pajati, India. My goodness, thank you so much. Raju Gupta, Yoga. My man Tanyan Sylvie, right there from Sylvie from the New Jersey. Thank you so much, Gawadant and Mr. Wilson Bob. Mr. Bob, thank you so much. He's always our primetime viewers, listeners. Thank you so much for your time, your commitment to this network. Kaika Felet, Travers Brown, Vasco Smoley man. What's up, man? You can play football or you can play. Thank you so much. John Twant and Mr. Isaac Harris. Good evening. Thank you for being part of today's program. Lovers, my goodness. And Mr. Ate Ato Tati Senior, thank you so much for your time. John Goba, Sibyl Canes, and Avi Bament, thank you, all of you, for your time this evening. Sonny Dussin, and all of you great people, Sissy, to Raziz, Tennegrams, Laurent, Willie Yeat, and of course, Yvonne from the from Washington State. Thank you so much for your time, for your company. And our own LPR senior analyst, the Liberal calling the Minnesota-based politicians, Sisa Goya, just returned from Liberia. We can't wait to have you here. I saw you firing on what his name, 50-50 show the other day with Anthony Mariah Yakulet, and that was a fascinating program. We need to expand on that. Thank you so much. Florence Kensley, good evening. All right, folks, that does it this evening. Until then, by God's willing, same time, same station, we'll be back here again for more programming. Until then, I'm Alfonso Zain, so have a pleasant evening. Stay safe. We will see you when we see you. Bye-bye.